Hello, welcome to Borderline IT Tutorials. Um, Today's tutorial is installation of Ubuntu 16.10 on a server, and we are using VirtualBox for this installation. Now, if you don't have VirtualBox, you can download it at this link, virtualbox.org. It's free software from Oracle. We're going to use the package for Windows host, because we're installing on a Windows system. So you click to download, you save it, and then you run the installation. After installation, this is what you have. You have your VirtualBox manager, and then you have on the left pane you have your virtual machines. On the right pane, the properties of any machine you select. If you've done a fresh install, you wouldn't have anything on the left pane, but because we've installed a virtual machine before, so we have one. So we're going to go through the installation of a new virtual machine. So you click on New, you can see New here. You can also go to File, Machine, and New, or you could use Control N. So we just click on New now, and then we give our machine a name. You see type, this is the type of OS and the version of the OS. We're not using Windows, we're going to use Ubuntu, so it has to change. We name it Ubuntu, let's say Ubuntu 7 install. You can name it anything you want to. The type is changed to Linux and version Ubuntu 64-bit because it detected that we wrote Ubuntu. So we changed it to Ubuntu. Then we have to go next to follow the steps. At this point, it's for memory size, the size of the RAM. It's suggesting 1 gig RAM for us. We're going to follow the suggestion. We can go back. Let me show you this. You see, export mode is this is a mode for it has more options. If you feel you want to make some extra changes, then you can use export mode. Guided mode is the basic mode. It's okay for us, so let's use guided mode to proceed. Ubuntu 7 install. The type is Ubuntu and the version is 64-bit Ubuntu. Next, the memory size, we use the recommended 1 gig memory. And next, the hard disk now. Recommended an 8 gig hard disk. So we can choose these options: do not add a hard disk, create a hard disk, or use an existing file. We're going to create a separate file for this install, so we just create a virtual hard disk now, and then create. Now it asks us what type of hard disk file we want to create. VDI is the default file, that's the file for VirtualBox. We have EMDK. These are the ones you could choose them if you want to share your virtual machine with another virtualization software. In this case, we don't need that, so we're just going to stick with the default VDI. And we go next. Now, this window is for storage on the physical hard disk. There are two options: dynamically allocated and fixed size. If you use the fixed size option, it's going to create like a virtual hard disk file with all the size that you selected for the hard disk initially. If you use the dynamically allocated option, it's going to create the virtual hard disk file, but it's not going to take up all the space you selected at the start. It's going to start filling it up bit by bit till it gets to the space you have required. So you can choose any of the options. Fixed size has a speed advantage, but it's not that much that we must use it. We're going to use dynamically allocated. So we say next. This is where we can tweak the size, we can reduce it or increase it, but we leave it at 8 gig. And then we create it. The name is the same, Ubuntu 7 install. So you can see it's created and it's on the left pane, and you can see the properties for this virtual machine right here. Now the next step is to install Ubuntu on our server here. Now we need an Ubuntu install file. So you could use an ISO, you could use a CD if you have a CD. In this case, we're going to use an ISO because we're installing it on a virtual machine. So we are going to use an ISO, and the ISO we're going to use is the net install ISO. The net install ISO has the basic requirements to start the installation. It doesn't have all the packages required to complete the installation. So it doesn't have all the packages required for the installation, but it pulls them from the internet when you start the installation. So you can download it from Ubuntu site. So you see the link here, ubuntu.com, community installation minimal CD. Lots of places you can download it from. We download it from here. We're going to use the 64-bit option. Ubuntu 16.10 Yakkety Yak. It's just very small, 55 meg. So we download it. We save it. The name is mini. It's an ISO file. So we save it. It saves on our PC, and then we can move on back to our virtual box. Now I want to start the installation. So we're going to power it on. We could use the start, the green arrow here. We could right click and start it. We use normal start it up. So click here to start up the server. So starts up, and it asks us to select the startup disk. So we have to go navigate to wherever we saved our ISO file. It's in my downloads. Open it up, and then we can start the installation. Click start. So you see it starts installation for VirtualBox. So you see the screen now, install, command line install, advanced options, and help. So we just use install. It brings up some information telling us about the mouse capture. So this is basically saying that if you click in this environment, it captures the mouse, and then you cannot use the mouse outside the environment until you use the right control key, which is the host key. So go ahead, that's just some information. So I click inside it and I press enter to start the installation. So installation is starting. Asks me to choose the install language. I'm going to choose English. Enter. Country, I've choose Nigeria. You can choose your country. Keyboard layout, detect. I don't need detection. I know my keyboard layout, so I'm going to say no and choose. If you are not sure what your keyboard layout is, you could say yes. It will take you through some questions to help you determine your keyboard layout. So no, my keyboard layout is English US. You select whatever you want your keyboard is, and you enter. English US, enter. It starts detecting network hardware. So trying to configure networking. That's running. So it says network configuration succeeded. Host name. In this field, you can put in if you have a domain name that you want to use as the host name, then you can put it in here. We leave it on the default here, Ubuntu. Continue. Now it asks us what mirror we want to use. You should use the mirror closest to you. At this point, it's going to start downloading packages from the internet, which is going to use to complete the installation, since we use the minimal install ISO. You don't get this if you're using the full ISO for the installation, because everything is on the ISO. In this case, most of the packages are not on the ISO, so we have to accept, choose our country, use Nigeria Mirror because it's closest to us. Choose the one closest to you, select it. Asking you if there's a HTTP proxy, no HTTP proxy, we leave it blank and we continue. It starts downloading the files for the installation.